All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight? Jeff Freeman here with the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. And we're being joined tonight by Jack Campbell, John Edwards, and our very special guest, Matty Blake. Matty and everybody, how you doing?
Good evening.
Great.
Good to see
So
you guys.
we are so excited. I mean, season 9 premiere just happened last night. I mean, was that an awesome show or what? You guys, come on. I mean, I know it was exciting. I mean, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. What do you guys think?
It's been too long. We needed it so bad.
I'm
and
speechless.
and
Yeah,
Jeff, they
it was
picked up right
awesome.
where they left off.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing about it too, and Matty has had his drilling down shows that have been going on for the last couple of weeks that has kind of fed us a little bit as we go along and kept us going. And last night's was another great one. And I tell you what, it was nice to have that because, you know, as always, Matty, you give us a great insight as to what's happening, what we don't generally see on the Curse of Oak Island. I mean, how long have you been involved? That's like how many years now?
That was my 7th time kicking off the season premiere special. So it's an honor. You know, I actually tweeted that last night. I go, gosh, that's 7 times that I've, you know, kind of thrown to, or at least kicked off the season. And, you know, it's a very sacred honor to me. And the longer it goes, it's just like life, right? The longer something goes, the more you tend to hopefully appreciate it. And when you start to see maybe, you know, that we're maybe towards the end here. And I don't freak out when I say that. That was
I was gonna say what?
no, you know, that Marty actually said that to me in the special. If you noticed, we we're sitting in the director's chairs there at the final interview, the final thoughts. He said, you know, I feel like we're a little closer to the end than we are to the beginning here. And that's just a fact. You can feel that. You know, not say anything's ending or anything like that. I don't want to be misquoted, but it's just like you've been doing this. They've been there for what, 13 years.
Yeah.
I've been there for 7, and you just kind of, you start appreciating the things, the little things, the little moments. So yes, I appreciate every second with those guys and on this search.
Well, we really love it a lot. And I know I mentioned to you when you were on the show, and you have been on before. And again, I thank you so much for coming on again tonight to help us kick off our season. But you had mentioned before, or I had mentioned to you before, about some of the great drilling downs that you've done. One of them, one of my all-time favorites, is the Dan Blankenship. It was Dave and Dan Blankenship special, working with Dave, talking about his dad, and of course the accident that happened to him and all that. That was fantastic. That was like my favorite one for sure.
Oh, Jeff, thank you very much. And I love coming on the show. And I'd want to say I don't think spoken with John yet, and I never turned down a chance to talk to my old pal Jack. So yeah, no problem. Yeah, that Dave one was awesome. Like Dave and I, for whatever reason, I remember the first time I met him was in New York City. I might have met him on the island the very first time I went on. I don't remember, but I know the first time I ever spent any kind of real time with him was in New York City for those first season of Drilling Down. And it was after filming, and there was some kind of, you know, there was a little crown floating around. and I remember, we might have had one or two, and I could tell it was kind of like a little test with him. You know, like, here you go, city boy. He called me city boy. First of all, yes, I lived in New York City at that time, but I'm from the country. I'm from the woods, you know, of Massachusetts, basically the suburbs. And so it's funny that he was calling me city boy. But to him, in his world, he saw me as this fancy New York City guy, not knowing that I come from very blue collar Boston people who are just like him. Like all my uncles are like him, my father, my grandfather. So I fit in right with him right away. And whenever him and I, like, this little magic alchemy happened, and it wasn't on purpose, really. It wasn't. Whenever him and I sat down together and there was a camera on, he would just kind of like open up. And so my job, say, in that moment was to ask him about, would have a GoPro in the golf cart and say, ask him about what he knew about 10X or whatever. And within 5 sentences, we're talking about his divorce. And you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of, we just had that thing. So it was a natural, when he announced he was going to retire, it's like, let's sit down with him for I was there for hours. We talked for hours. What you saw was a result of just a really intense conversation. So I love that one too. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, that was
one
awesome.
of the things I noticed on your drilling downs that I've noticed through the years is how Alex McLean has really grown into this show. and starting to take charge more.
Yeah, great observation, Jack. Alex, has his father's skeptical nature, I think.
Yeah.
Also super bright like his dad. He
Mhm.
processes information. He doesn't get excited too easily. Really nice young man, very polite, but you're right. He has, my gosh, I mean, he was involved in almost all the drilling down specials I did to some capacity. There was some interview I was doing with him somewhere, and he's like kind of leading the charge. He's excited. He's jazzed up. So yeah, you're right. He's a great, he's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. If he's getting excited about stuff, you're doing good.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get too far in, I did want to mention too that as you folks know, we are still working and helping out as much as we can in our group and on the show here with the Christmas Daddies charity that's going on. And that is going to be on December 4th. They're having a telethon up there in Nova Scotia, in Canada. They're going to be doing the telethon where they're going to be giving away, and they're collecting money for Christmas Daddies charity, which is a great thing. It's all volunteer. None of the funds that they collect are going to the TV station or the people or the performers are there. None of that. It's all going to Christmas Daddies, and it's to help needy families and children at Christmas time. And of course, we've been doing this. They have the 2 signed hats that have been signed by just about every cast member on the show. We're going to be giving away one of those right here with Dale on November 15th. We're going to give away the hat. They also have a maritime tartan shawl, a stole, and of course the hat. And again, that's going to be, we haven't got the time yet, but it's probably going to be somewhere around 6 o'clock or so Eastern time on November 15th. And then again, the second hat, the other hat, and you get your choice. If you win the hat, there's a lavender one. I had the picture up at the beginning. There's a lavender one, and there's also a yellowish one. You have your choice, and then the other one is going to get auctioned off during the telethon, I believe it is. Right now, they are about $1,900 shy of this new goal of $18,000. Fantastic. Everybody's been chipping in. Most of the guys on the island have chipped in for this. If so far, it's the biggest donation of this year, the biggest single donation of this year. They've reached that point already. So thank you to those of you who have, and be sure you tune in on November 15th to get a chance at that hat. I tell you what, if the guys strike gold and if they find the one thing that Rick keeps talking about, that hat's going to be worth a lot. And if I win it, it's going to get displayed right here in my studio. So yeah, what's my chances? Probably not so good. But anyway, I definitely wanted to bring that up real quick and talk about that. On the drilling down episode last night, and again, thanks so much for these drilling downs, Matty. They're great. And I tell you, there's one right here, and I'm going to show this this can. Now we'll be talking about these 10-foot cans a little bit. Now you're 6 foot, what is it? 6 foot
6'3", but probably shrinking.
6'3". Look at the size of that can compared to a 6'3" man standing right there. I mean,
it'd be tall even for me, Jeff.
Yeah, what you're like 6'8", or what are you?
6'8". So
6'8".
Wow. Wow, Jack, we would have made a good power forward combo.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We did some takes with me walking through it. Delivering dialogue, walking through it, and the sound is obviously, it's prohibitive with the sound, it's echoey. But yeah, you really get a sense of how massive they are when you walk through the middle of one of them.
Oh man, fantastic. Yeah, that's great. And I tell you, you bring such an insight to us during these shows. And here's another one. I want to show this one real quick. This shows some of them all lined up. Wow. I don't know how many were brought. Karen Publicover gives us some great pictures, and we've seen parts of the crane going over and then some of the cans. Well, we didn't have any idea how many in the end, but my goodness, that's massive. And we have really no idea how many they actually put in the ground during season 9, but man, what a project, right? I mean, and we were trying to speculate what the ones from last year, I guess the other ones were, I thought they were smaller. I guess you were saying about 8, I guess.
Yeah, as I remembered, it was 8. I remember and I could be wrong, but I remember Marty, this, in between takes, we were in the war room and he was explaining the math to me of the circumference, the cubic feet of earth you move in just a 2-foot difference of a caisson. It's a massive difference. So, you say, oh, it's 2 feet bigger or whatever, but it's as far
a
as
lot
searching for
more.
treasure, it's a lot more earth you're moving. Yeah, with just the can being just a little bit wider.
Yeah, and that's great too, because and as we go through the recap here of last night's premiere, we'll get into a little bit more in depth on that. Another thing I wanted to point out was this right here, this picture. We don't see this kind of thing too very often, but Jack Bagley with the metal detector going on. Now
Yeah.
you got a chance to talk to him when you were there too, right?
That was one of those cool little moments where, so we were recording the scene. That the interview was me, Rick, I believe, Charles maybe, and Doug Kroll, if I'm remembering correctly, up by the Money Pit. And on the way up, I have this. I'm either in a car with one of the producers, or I'm in a little golf cart or something, or Kubota. And just on the way by that, I saw them out there working. We kind of made note, that's a different area, and if you watch, especially, you'll see me say to Rick, well, I noticed those two down there doing something. Can I go down there and talk with them? And they go, yeah, let's go. So I was like, okay, and follow Rick down the hill. And so it's like one of those kind of magic little moments, and come to find out they're working on something kind of different and kind of cool.
Yeah. And they were over there. I guess this was actually spoils. From was it the original? No. This was the Dunfield.
The Dunfield spoilers.
Yeah, all that stuff that Dunfield turned up that we talk about. That's so legendary for all the. I think I might have said it on this podcast. I don't remember, Jeff, but I said it recently, and it was kind of a new thought, because we tend to always say, "Oh, Dunfield did all this damage," and it's like, but I have a bit of a soft spot for Dunfield in terms of, he had pressure on him, money was running out, and how many fans say to me, like, why don't they just dig a big hole, a big dig?
Yeah.
And then those same people are like, boy, Dunfield did a lot of damage. I'm like, well, what do you think a big dig was? What do you think a big dig would do? So he was not a trained scientist. The pressure was mounting, money was bleeding out, and he just said, you know what? And he had the most modern equipment at the time, and he just said,
all the chips on the table and go.
That's it, Jack. I'm solving this thing. So I've always had a little bit of empathy for him in a way. But those spoils, all that damage he did, it was never gone through.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
So it's like, to our knowledge, it's never gone through. So set Jack loose, and whoever wants to grab a metal detector, and myself included, and let's go. But yeah, seriously, let's go. I did. I looked through stuff with Jack, and
really, oh wow.
Yeah, found actually when we were shooting that day, we found a little piece of pottery that was kind of benign, I think, but it's just constant. It's constant. You see a fraction of the stuff that's found.
I know. Well, that was at the one of the drilling downs. You had that collage of all those pictures of the things that were found just during season 8, 400 some things, and it was, and again, there's not enough time in the season to show us every single thing you find, and not every single thing you find is of that particular importance. So you show us the best stuff. We understand that, but that collage, I mean, that was like, my goodness, what a things that we and then the top 10 things that we haven't seen. That was a great show. We talked about that a little bit. John and I went through those, and that was just a fantastic. That was neat.
It's difficult too for the producers, because not a lot of times, but it does happen where there's an item, right? And to us, who are following this, it's a real search that we're following, right? And to us, an item might seem benign, it's a piece of wood, it's another this, it's another that. And we're thinking like, all right, where's something? But it turns out after testing, after a long time, that item actually tells a story, and it's kind of important. And that when you add how many there are, it gets a little complicated. And there have been times where it's like, wait a second, what happened to that piece that, it dated to this? Well, that could fit with this. It's like a constant puzzle.
Yeah. And a lot of people, in our group, even, they'll be, no, they keep finding wood, big deal, wood. No, but that wood is dated, and that has a story behind it.
The right piece of wood could solve the whole thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It could tell us who. It could tell if a piece of wood has engraving on it of some kind, or with dendrochronology, it could tell us, certain testing exactly when it was there, and that could, you could know you're on the chapel vault, for example. So, bring on the wood, I say.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on that. It's like the spikes, and that's the other thing. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, there's spikes." You know, they keep finding spikes, but the one that they found with actually had some concrete type substance on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
you got to look into every bit of that stuff as you go along.
Even the Wooded Smith's clothes that they dated surprised them so much and everything that year.
Yep.
Absolutely. And when you're dealing with like nautical stuff, seafaring and ship stuff, you have a lot of great experts that can really nail down. They can look at a piece of decking or something and tell you exactly when that was used, what type of ship it was. So finding ship parts is a really great way to help try to solve the mystery.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it is. It really is. And that's something that I know that John is very into as well, because just the nautical stuff and all that. He's very good at picking out that kind of nautical stuff and having an answer for it or digging into it and finding out.
Yeah, you can you can look that stuff up. You can catalog it.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
So much of it has been found in the swamp, all the nautical stuff and belaying pins and ship planks. And it gets you to wonder, what was the swamp used for? Could it be pragmatic and symbolic? Very possible.
Yeah.
So, it's just very interesting. Every time an artifact is pulled up, what does it mean? What's it commiserate of? It's just so much to explore there.
I'm still not giving up on that ship shape anomaly.
I know.
No.
I mean, Marty gets mad at me. He goes, but I'm just like,
come on, man. Have company.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's too much of a. I said the other day when I was with them just recently, not the other day, but I guess a few weeks ago, whenever it was. I've lost all track of time. I was gone all summer shooting stuff. But I said, man, could we not be seeing, like, just because the exploratory drilling you've done hasn't hit it yet, or you haven't found evidence of it, like, could it be deeper? Could it be we're seeing the imprint of what was there? Right. Do you know, I thought of when they said there was a body in 10X, right? And the body could become this gelatinous goo, bodies underwater like that. And so it is actually there. But you're almost seeing like a ghost remnant of it, and if you were to breach it, it would just melt apart. And I'm like, could we be seeing where the ship was? Could we see image of where the ship was somehow? Like, I'm open to all that.
They never really looked for the ship when the swamp was dry either.
There's been some searching, but in my opinion, that the searching they've done thus far has been inconclusive. Well, it's been conclusive in terms of it wasn't where they thought it would be based on those images, but I don't think that means that it might not necessarily still be there. So maybe a little deeper. I don't know, but I just think that image was so intense.
Awesome.
You make me smile.
I won't give up, Jack. I won't give up.
Yeah. Then that was the thing too, that Jack and I were, when they showed at the end of last season, when they found the ship's railing piece, and then and Billy Gerhardt put it as, that's a top pocket find. And that was an awesome moment. But that, we were, and they had shown the little artist rendition of putting in the cofferdam around that area and really excavate. Me and Jack and I were all over that. I mean, we were like, yes, they got to do that this year. And we figured, well, chances are it may not happen. But so, and it appears that maybe it didn't, but we did see thanks to our friends like Colin Jameson and Karen Public Coverage going around in their boat and taking pictures for us. We did see some activity in that general area in the swamp with the big reach. It's like an 80-foot reach on that one excavator. So we don't know. We're going to find out what they found in the swamp there for sure as we go along. So, well, I know you're limited on time. So I tell you what, let's jump into the season here a little bit. And I know whenever you got to go, you can go ahead and bow out. But man, I tell you, it's awesome having you here.
Yeah, I got about hard out in about 5 minutes or so. We're good.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Well, tell you what, we had a question. I saw a couple questions pop by. Let's do that real quick. If you're
taking questions,
5 minutes. One of the things that I saw somebody ask, they said, ask Matty what his theory of who the depositors were. If there was truly somebody depositing treasure or artifacts or something, what's your theory on who it is?
I mean, I've really honed in on the Templar theory ever since I read Zena's book. I've read it twice. So it might be fair to say that yes, Templars deposited, but it might not be in the way that we think. you know, there are accounts of Templars knowing where there were, for example, natural veins of precious metal
Mm.
in North America, not on Oak Island. So, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're thinking about that theory. You start to find things that point to the timeline of the Templars on Oak Island. And then you start to find traces of gold and silver in the water on Oak Island.
Yep.
So maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, you know, maybe there was some sort of natural vein that they knew of somewhere else. And maybe it was, maybe they were loading up on that, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
We always tend to think of the Templars having these precious religious artifacts and gold in their treasure and coming to Oak Island dumping it, but maybe that's not quite the way the story happened.
Right.
So you know, I'm a Templar guy. I think that's where my heart is. That's where my faith kind of lies, and we'll see.
Yeah. That's my hope as well. As Terry goes along, Terry DeVoe is talking very much about, and we'll get into that as we get talking about the show more, but he was talking about the fact that he thinks Portugal, I think, wasn't that what it was?
Yeah.
John?
Portuguese Templars, yeah.
Portuguese being
Makes a lot of
involved.
sense.
Order of Christ, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot of ties to the Portuguese Templars, absolutely.
Yeah,
And that was commiserate with the Overton stone too, as a symbol of Portuguese.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's
So
exactly
you have
right.
that tie in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been out to the stone, like Overton Stone? Have you been out there to see
No,
it?
no, I've never
Okay.
seen it in person. No.
Yeah, I'd love to get out there and have it. I
Yeah.
know that's on private property, so you can't just walk.
Yeah.
I believe that's what I remember him saying. You can't just walk out there and go have a look for yourself. But man,
Right.
I'd love to. I know. See, of all of us, you and John have been on Oak Island. I've never been there because of COVID has stopped me from getting there the last 2
Mm.
years.
Yes.
But and you've been there so many times now. It's
Mm.
just man. I mean, that's and this. One of the pictures that I wanted to show, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. And as soon as I showed this to John, he's like, "Oh, I've been down that road. This is going out. Here's the resort right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's Oak Island.
Yeah.
You've been down that road, I assume,
Oh.
correct?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just there for, I don't know, 6 weeks, and I was on that road every day for 6 weeks. So,
Wow.
and that's my seventh year doing it. Yeah. So I've, not as much. I mean, look, the camera guys, the crew, they're there months and months and months,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's a beautiful place. I love it. It's become like a second home to me, a second country. I feel like an adoptive son of Canada, if they'll have me. I just really, truly love it there.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the big
your
question.
drilling down with the production staff was a good drilling down also, man.
Oh, thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be my favorite, actually. Showing the behind the scenes of how how it's kind of done, and getting to show the camera operators, the photographers, and the producers, and the people who never get any of the glory, any of the credit.
Yeah.
I love that special because it was their turn to shine. The camera guys and gals. I mean, you think about it. All those hours we talk about and how hard the fellowship works and how hard the team works. Well, there's guys who are what we call shouldered up that whole time. And those camera rigs are not light,
Mm.
and for all the hours in the heat and the cold and the rain and the bugs, everything that team deals with, the camera guys are there before we get there and they're there after we leave, so it's like they truly worked their butts off. So I loved that special where they got their chance to kind of shine.
Yeah, that was my second favorite. It was the Dan and Dave Blankenship, and then the behind the scenes one was my second favorite for sure.
Awesome.
And because it was so neat because we get to see they were following you around, and there's one scene where you're running. I think you're running from the swamp. You're running over to get out to the road so you can jump in a car or something.
Yep.
And you see the guy running behind you with the camera, and I mean he's booking through the woods.
That's it, man. And we've done that a million times, like especially shooting drilling down, because all the drilling downs I've shot over the years have been going on simultaneous to the main unit, what we call the main unit. So like I've had to sprint out of shots. Like I see, like the producer who you saw, John Levy with Joe Lassard. I've made eye contact with John Levy walking up to do something, and he's just going, and I'm like, oh, and I have to sprint because like, you when you do this for a long time, you kind of know where the cameras are going to be, so I'll run out of the shot. Yeah. So there's a lot of that.
Well, that was so neat because they were doing that, and I remember watching the scene during the Curse of Oak Island episode where they were all standing down by the stone road, and that's when they first uncovered Aaron Dr. Aaron Taylor was there, and they were talking to Rick and everything. And you guys were all standing in the woods up on the uplands, watching this taking place. And there was the table set up with the sound guys and the I don't know, what would he be, the guy that's calling the shots. Okay, make sure you get a shot of this. Make sure you get a shot of that.
Yeah.
And of course they're not that far away. We never see them, and that's just shows the professionalism of all those guys and being able to do that. It's just fantastic. And then when you guys were running over, you went to go get Gary. I think he was on the ball property or somewhere over there. And that's when you jumped in the vehicle to go over, and you were watching Gary, and I forget who he was with, digging for him, but he was doing his metal detecting.
Yeah.
And the cameras were talking about, get this shot, get that shot, get this shot. I mean, that's just awesome.
I'm glad you got to see that, because like that's as close as you can get to my ringside seat over these past 7 years. Like I've seen so many of the big iconic Oak Island moments just standing in the woods or standing right off to the side, watching them film live time, those incidents. Or those exciting moments. So it's really a cool, I've sat in what we call Video Village during some of the most famous war room moments, watching it on a little computer screen. Oh yeah. I think one of my favorite moments, and people always ask me my favorite moments. I could never pick just one, but the one that makes me get chills to this day is watching the war room when they started debating whether to further their search in 10X, and some people wanted to and some people didn't. And Dan came in, and Dan was, you could just kind of feel it. He was radiating a little bit of intensity, I would say politely. And he just went, he surprised everyone. He had a bag of items from 10X that were discovered and tested and dated very old. Remember that? And he goes, well, Marty, this came from 10X. This came from 10X. This, and he slammed them down on the war room table. And I'm in the things just going like, oh my God, this is, it still gives me the chills. Like, so if you're an Oak Island fan, like to be there, it's like being there, when everyone says they're at a sports event, some famous sports event, like I was there for that game, what I mean? It's cool for me to be able to watch. That thing we shot was Marty that's the first time Marty ever saw the road in the swamp. And I got to watch him get out of the car, see it, react. It was awesome. That's cool stuff.
Yeah, that's it. That was when Rick was showing him, and he was just he was standing there just amazed at what it was. And and a lot of people are like, oh, big deal, or it is so significant. It truly is. And it adds to the story. And then with Aaron looking at it and talking about the different layers and how it probably was added to over the years, I mean, my goodness. And 10X, I'm still is there an X in 10X? Probably, as far as the show is concerned, but man, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. We'll
10X is some Tom Burns has said 10X has never left my list of places to be. For sure. So 10X is definitely on my list. Well, I know you got to run, but I wanted to tell you one thing before you go.
Sure. Yeah.
John and I have been doing some shows on a offshoot channel that we call Beyond Our World. We do paranormal, and we also do UFOs, UAPs, and talk about stuff that is beyond our normal world. Got to get you. I know you are into that stuff. One of these days, I'm going to invite you to come on the show, and hopefully you will, and join us out there at on Beyond Our World and talk about some stuff.
Oh, I'd be happy to. Just reach out to us, and Colleen will book me, and we'll do it.
All right, sounds great.
That'd be great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
guys. Thank you so much. I'll leave you with this. I was thinking about the special, the Drilling Down Kickoff special, and I think if you watch the special very carefully, and I'm not saying this for ratings or anything, 'cause I don't get any extra ratings if you go back and watch the Drilling Down special, but I was thinking about it, and the edit that was chosen, and just how the show flowed. I challenge you to watch Rick and Marty Lagina in last night's Drilling Down special again, the kickoff special, my special.
All right.
And tell me, or tell Jeff, if you agree, if you've ever seen Rick, especially Rick, this consistently enthused. I felt the energy level this year was as high as it's ever been. I think you are all going to love season 9. So
awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to do
Thank
that.
you,
so you heard that, folks. Get watch it, and then let me know what you think. I'll get it over to Matty, and we'll
Look at the
yeah.
twinkle in Rick's eye the whole time.
All right, definitely we'll do that. Wow. So thanks again, Matty.
Thank
it's
you.
so
Thanks,
awesome
Matty.
to have you on
Thanks,
the show. And
guys.
thank you
We
for cutting
appreciate
out
you.
some time of your busy day for us. We
Okay.
appreciate
Thanks
it
for
very
thinking
much.
of me. Have a great night. Keep the
All
faith.
right.
Keep the faith, everybody.
Oh, we will.
You will.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, that was awesome.
That was
great.
Matty's so good. What a great guy to come by and share some of his time with us. We know he's so darn busy running around all the time, and he just got home. I mean, he just got home like yesterday, he said.
And I love the fact that he mentioned the gold vein as a possibility for the Templars as his running theory. And we know, and he didn't say it, but there was 475 pounds of gold pulled out of the Gold River. So we know the gold in the area. So Matty's theory kind of made sense that could be a possibility for the Money Pit area.
Yep.
And we still have the mining lease on the map, Jeff, from the early 1800s.
I know.
So, that's again, it's kind of commiserate with Matty's theory. I kind of like that.
I guess we've all leaned toward that Templar, if not for fact, it's just for lore as much as anything too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, that's what Dean Barker said. That was Rick's old age twinkle, was it? I don't know. I tell you, Matty was exactly right, because that was something that I picked out during the entire show last night. Thank you, Jan. During the entire show last night, I felt and the drilling down, of course, I felt the enthusiasm of everybody on the team. It just seemed like, I mean, they're always like, oh, all right, here we go. As they're driving out another season, this is going to be the year. And that's great. Everybody's excited at the beginning, but all the way through that. And Matty wasn't there you saw the pictures from Karen Public Cover shared with us of Matty. He was there for like a block of 3 weeks at a time, shooting all these different drilling downs, and everything was all done at one time. And so that was just a few weeks ago. That was like the beginning of September.
But just even to think of how Marty has changed on all this in the past couple of years alone.
Absolutely.
For enthusiasm.
Yeah. Well, and I love the little thing he said about the swamp, because I don't know what Rick was wanting me to get out of the swamp, and I just keep telling him no. Just completely the opposite of that, right? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's jump into the season premiere, and as I was showing there, and I love these pictures, as you guys well know. This one right here showing at they never showed this shot before. And like I know, John, you've been down this road. I'd love to travel down that road myself one day. But it kind of goes around through and behind the resort, I guess, and then it comes around a curve, and boom, there's the island, right?
So if you're traveling up towards us, up towards this way, it's the Gold River, and it comes from that road goes from the Gold River and the First Nation reservation all the way down to Oak Island.
Okay.
So it's right there. It's a very interesting drive.
Nice. Yeah, that's really a great shot right there. I just love that, because here you can see Oak Island. It's like right there it is.
I do envy you, John, for being there, because boy, I would love to.
Yeah. Hopefully next year, Jack.
Oh yeah.
2022 we can
get
be
the
there.
three of us up there. We'll do a show.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a live show from the Mug and Anchor.
That's right.
Sure. There you go.
Yep. So there's the guys showing up out. You got Peter and Gary and everybody coming out, getting on the island for the first time, showing up over at the War Room. There they are, getting ready to head inside, and of course get the big greeting from everybody. There's some of the guys on the screen that couldn't be in the War Room at the moment. You got Matt Lukeman back there, and of course Marty and Alex and the whole gang.
Marion was back there too, if I remember correctly.
Yep, right up here. Yep.
Yep.
There's Liz and Miriam, and I don't know who this is sitting next to them, but the lady there with I'm sure at some point we may get introduced to her as we go along. And there's all the guys saying hi to them as they come in the door.
Yeah. I had to laugh at Miriam last night when she goes, "I got your trowel right here for you."
Yeah. So as they were going through, now this was something that they wanted to get and meet in here and start talking about what they had discovered last year. And they were talking about finding the silver in several of the well sites. I think there was 4. She's the other archaeologist. Okay, that was Linda said it. Okay, we don't know her name yet, though. I don't believe, right? So I'm sure we'll get introduced to her as we go along. So they were talking about the silver that was found in 4 primary wells that were up and around the Money Pit last season, thanks to Dr. Spooner and Matt Lukeman doing their samples that they were getting. And as they were going along this year, they said Dr. Spooner tells the team that he found a lab in Queens, Ontario, that can be able to or has the capability of discovering gold in the water. Now that's pretty interesting. I know John and I were talking about that because as we know, silver will kind of degrade a little bit and filter out some of it into the water, but I don't know, gold. What do you know about that?
I had never heard of gold before doing that.
No, definitely not. So if they have that capability, I mean, that changes everything. It really does. So they were taking a look at some of the particular boreholes that could possibly, that they could go back and check. And I guess they had and I don't know that I have that sheet. Oh, before we get to that, there's like a sheet that they had showing some of the boreholes. And I will get to that in just a little bit that they find, but they were going to go back and do a little bit of a survey in the Money Pit and check out these wells for gold to get some samples and see if they could find any gold there. We'll get to that in just a minute. One of the other things that they came across, and what do you guys, I want to put this out to the chat. What was your take on the new permits and the government getting more involved in the whole thing? Rick said he was interested in returning to the Stone Path, but he asked Laird to explain what's happening with CCH and their interest in Oak Island. The Department of Community, Culture, and Heritage wants more control over the search for past human activities. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, they were trying to put a happy face on it. I know Marty was, and saying it was a good thing because, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, John? Jack? John, you go first.
Okay, I was going to say, Treasure Trove Act 2010, which was basically brought into inception for Oak Island, surrendering like 10% of all gold found or anything of wealth, and then of course Nova Scotia could have all the artifacts, if there's anything major artifacts, but they are now making it commiserate with other archaeological sites. Like there was a special status for Oak Island, but there's been so much of significance found on Oak Island. I think they're erring on the side of caution. And so I know the map there that you have, Jeff, shows where they're still free to dig without permit, but there's so much archaeologically coming off the island. I see the concern because it is almost a historic site. With a amount of archaeology coming off the island, so I can see the concern.
Yep, Jack, do you think it's going to inhibit them some?
I think it will. I think it's going to make it. I think they'll get there, but I think it's going to be slower.
Yeah.
I think they're looking. I think they're looking in the future also. To be very honest, after this is all done, to make it a park maybe or something, something like that.
Yep.
For the business community and everything to draw people in and everything.
Right.
So I think they're
trying to do somebody calling in. Hang on just a second.
I would like to know if it's provincial or if it's national that's doing this.
Yeah.
They didn't say.
But caution's not a bad thing when it comes to Oak Island. You do want to preserve this. You want to preserve what's there.
That's for sure. Oh, we got a caller. Who's on the line with us?
Hey, Jeff, it's Dale from Halifax.
Hey, Dale, how you doing?
Hey.
Dale Carney.
Not too bad.
What's going on, sir?
Just Linda said I should call in and give you guys a little more of an update for the
please.
fundraiser.
Okay, please. Yeah, go ahead.
It's going well. We're after the GoFundMe fees. If we hit another 1,900, I think it is, we'll be at an even 18,000.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And we got 12 days left to go.
12.
And it's going good. It's every $100 that's donated gives a child a full Christmas. So it's gonna help a lot of kids in our area this year. Hopefully by next week I shall be going down to the island and getting a picture with the check that we're going to present on December 4th.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah. So it's but no, it's going very well, and you're ruining all my surprises because I can't watch your show tonight because I haven't seen it here in Kansas.
It is a spoiler alert. Sorry, folks. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
All Canada.
Like, oh no, I
I
can't
can't
watch
watch
this
this.
because I haven't seen it.
I know.
But
So
I'll
we,
be,
yeah. What
I'll be
else? The
watching
only,
it airs here on Sundays at 11
Yeah.
o'clock in Nova Scotia.
yep. Yeah. The only other thing we
But
could
from
do
what
would be do the show on Monday night, right? And then I'd have hardly any time to prepare. But yeah. So wow.
But from what I've seen, it looks amazing so far.
Oh yeah, this is going to be an exciting season, I believe. Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the actual first episode after everybody else seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
But,
yeah. Well, I'm glad that the fundraiser is going well. You guys now, and I mentioned earlier on that this is the biggest single donation this year, right? You've already passed that
This
point.
is there's a couple of big corporations like Walmart donates and Giant Tiger donates and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for an individual business, I think this is going to be probably the biggest one this year.
Wow.
Mm.
I'll
That's
give you an
great.
example. Last year we had a couple of signed items, and one of them was what did we do last year? I think it was we had we had a script from a movie.
Oh,
But the year before, we had some stuff done from the cast of General Hospital. We had 2 hats signed by them, and we raised $3,000 with those.
wow.
So in comparison, this has gotten beyond anything we've ever imagined.
Wow.
So everybody down here is on board with it, and we're trying to get as much in as possible. And it's picking up. With 12 days left, I mean, I'm hoping within the last week it really picks up some more.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but
You
I
get
haven't
that
been
extra
doing much in
18.
the past couple of days with it due to a death in the family. So
Right. Right. Yeah. I
we're
understand.
we're going with that, and
Yep.
but I'll get back into it in a couple of days and get some more promotion going for it and getting it in. And with your guys' help, it's been amazing. So I thank you with all my heart.
Yeah. Well,
And I'm sure the kids are probably going to thank you for it.
yeah, we're honored to help for sure, and anything we can. It's a fantastic cause, and that's what it's all about. It's for the kids and families that really deserve a Christmas, and so we're whatever we can do to help. We're just honored to help. I really am. And with the guys on board, I got the picture up right now showing Rick, Marty, and Craig all signing the hat. Hats, both of them. I'm showing that picture at the moment, and it's just fantastic because they're on board as well. All of them, everybody on the island is like really. I think you even mentioned they keep checking with you to see how the fundraiser is going, don't they?
Yeah, they've been quiet for a little while, but I think they're busy.
Yeah,
But they have been checking in to see how we're doing and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, but as a true Canadian, sorry for interrupting the middle of your
Nope.
podcast.
No problem. Thank you, Dale.
But I'm really enjoying it. I'm not going to watch it until after Sunday, so I'll rewatch it on Monday.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Now,
Perfect. Thanks again for everything, guys.
all right, bye now.
Thank you.
Yep, that's great. So, getting back to this real quick. So yeah, Jack, somebody even mentioned that you were spot on with that, and I think that's important to say that. My concern with the whole thing was I hope this doesn't hold them up. Now we know that Laird is their point man. Laird is the archaeologist that is working for the province. I think he is the point man for them. So I think he has the ability to say go or don't go when it comes to these things. So that's really cool. So that's a good thing that they have him on board. But I just hope that getting the permits, it doesn't hold them up too much. We knew that part of the island was, but now they're really clamping down. But like Marty said, the last thing he said, it's a good thing because, and this is something that Matty kind of hinted to. He said, what could it be if you think about it? It's like something they have found has triggered this. We don't know what that something is, but something that they have found on the island is what triggered all this. And as it said in Jan's wonderful synopsis that she does, thank you again, Jan, for that. More control over the search for past human activities. Think about that. That's what's key. So, I mean, we've all been talking about who could be there. Could have been the Portuguese, could have been the Templars, could have been, the Vikings, the Norse, and all that. Who could it have been? So anyway, keep that in mind as we watch season 9 to see what could they have found that is keying this. Vikings. What could they have found that keyed this? So Anyway, we got to get moving along. So this is the one area where they don't need to worry about it right here, and it encompasses most of Smith's Cove. hopefully, enough of it to where they can really, find it. And it's because it was so tore up. That's why this area was really devastated by Dunfield and others as they were digging and stuff. So that's why. All right. So we got to move along. All right. So they head on out to get out to the money pit area. There's Dr. Spooner showing up. Dr. Matt Lukeman, professor of chemistry, showing up, and we're starting to see him. Hopefully, we'll see him more in this season as we go along. So they arrive out there to get a look at things and out at the money pit, and they're going to be taking some samples from the 2017 to 2020 boreholes. They will begin with E8 and using a baler. And this is another thing that our company rents. That can go down, and it has a little ball in the bottom. It's a ball valve in the bottom, and as this thing goes down, it's a very small hole. So as this goes down, it lets sample of water all the way down until it gets down to the bottom. Then when they pull it up, it caps. The ball falls in there, caps it off. Then they can pull it up so they can get a sample all the way down as they go and get a sample of the water. So they're doing all that, getting those samples, and then they were talking about the size of the caissons. It's like the C1, which wasn't that was one of the smaller ones compared to the big 10-footer they're going to be putting in now. I mean, I know this is just an artist's rendition here of the picture, the size, but that's a good idea of the difference and the size of those. So they're going to be doing several digs, boreholes, and then they're going to be kind of centralizing and getting a good spot to say, okay, let's put a can in right here and go down and get a look at that. So then they head out. Now, one of the reason I brought this picture up, and again, I'm speculating here, but what do you guys think? It looked like they had to dig up some of the well pipes, because they were showing these like foxholes. I was thinking foxholes when I saw it, but they dug these holes with the little mini excavator. And it looked like they were actually going down in these holes. So I guess maybe they've left these boreholes. Some of them, they've left them in the ground, capped them off, and covered them with dirt, I guess. Right? And because they were digging them up to get two of them to do these samples.
Could be for supports, could be for platform, Jeff, because of what they were using, because they've had the earth in that area has been soft before. And they had to stop digging one season because the earth was giving away. Remember that? So so I would imagine it would have to be doing something with reinforcement.
Yeah, because I remember in here you can see some of the pipes that are sticking up out of the ground. These white pipes here, and they're doing this pattern around there. They're calling this the C1
cluster.
The C1. Thank you, the C1 cluster. Yeah,
they may just be getting them out because if they get it ready for the big dig, you got to get rid of them. Do it early,
Yeah.
Don't wait around.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. If they're going to be putting a big can in there, they got to get that pipe out of there.
You might as well do it early.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And again, that's what that whole program was last year. They were trying to narrow down where the money pit was, so when they do the big dig, they don't miss it by 10 feet or 5 feet or whatever. Any miss at all would be devastating, of course. So there's a lot of work going on there to get these samples, and they went out and did get some samples, and then they were off to go get them tested, and we'll get back to that in just a little bit. But then they go out and they run into get the guys out there from Choice Drilling. You see them there on their rig, and hopefully they refurbished this thing over the winter months. Because they're going to be doing a lot of holes again. I mean, how many holes? 400? Do you remember how many they?
The number.
Yeah, in a season, that's a lot of, and right after another. Okay, that one didn't pan out. All right, move over here, get this one. Okay, 10 feet over, let's get this one. I mean, they're just constantly digging holes. So that machine definitely got a workout in the last few years, and continuing now, of course. Here's what they're showing. Here's C1 caisson right here. And here they're showing doing this pattern all around it. Because C1, of course, where the shiny gold object was. C1 is one they found one of the wells that they found the silver samples from the water last season.
Right.
So that's why they're really working around this one so much.
Sure.
So there's Steve Guptill out there giving them the mark for the one that they're getting ready to do. And I think they painted on there, said to give it the symbol for gold.
No, she did.
DE7 is the one that they're working on, is 13 feet from away from C1. So DE7 is the first one. And of course, that goes with that little grid pattern. They got the D, the letters across the top and numbers across the back. I think it was letters across the top and numbers down the side, the grid pattern. I got Deidre's map here someplace. I got it under a stack of papers, I think. But anyway, so that's the one they're working on. And they start digging on there. Terry finds, of course, the mixture of gravel and whatnot, the fill that they use going down. And then Rick arrives out there to take a look at some of the stuff. They're about 139 feet down. And don't forget that thing travels. You know, we've talked about that before, that as the pipe goes down, as the drill head goes down, it moves. What do they call that? What's the term for that? I forgot what they call that. But anyway, it starts off right here, but by the time it's down at 200 feet or 150 feet, it's walked, 3 feet
That's
over.
what you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you. It's walked like 3 feet over at the bottom by the time they get down there. So, okay. I got. So I know I haven't been paying a lot of attention to the chat. I'm so fired up about Matty being here.
It's
Roberta Harrison said, "My husband has a question. Does anyone know if they've tested 10x for gold and silver?" I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You would think they would have. I mean, if they're going around doing all this testing, you would think that that would have been like a no-brainer, right? But I didn't hear him ever mention it.
Wow, that's a good call.
Wow.
That's exactly what should happen eventually.
Yeah. Good idea.
Well,
yeah,
that's a great idea.
We got to get a hold of it. Right? We should have told
Change the thing.
Yeah, we should have told Matty. He's got a direct line to the brothers.
Oh, I forgot to ask Matty about the Eye of the Swamp too.
I
wonder what is going on with the Eye of the Swamp.
I know.
Slip in the Eye of the Swamp, the two big things.
Pull that plug.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull that plug out of the Eye of the Swamp. So anyway, so DE7, as we're working, there's our guys out there, Charles and Terry out there working the table, as they always are. It seems like those are the two that are generally there. And of course, Steve Guptill's showing up out there as well, because he has to use his the mighty staff of the GPS to show him exactly where to start drilling, so they can get through there. They did. I think they tested C1. Dean Barker, I was just asking about C1. They did test C1 last year. That was one of the first holes they tested last year at the end of the season when Dr. Spooner came up with Matt and said that they did find silver, enough concentration.
That was when they showed on a show, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one did get tested, but I don't know about for gold. I'm not sure about that. So, so I don't know if I'm assuming they would have tested it for gold. So, so we got to keep moving here. So, all right, then D6, CD6 was also another one. CD6 was about 10 feet away from C1. So let's see here. So, and as I said, Steve Guptill, he's got to be out there doing these markings, and I just don't know how many different, somebody said, hi, Steve. Is he actually watching? Oh,
I think he's actually watching. He's out there somewhere.
Steve, how many boreholes have you guys drilled?
Jeff, maybe Steve could call in. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe
I'd love to know.
Number right there,
Steve.
You want to call in?
Yeah.
Oh, he said I'm here. There he is.
There he is. Maybe he can answer that question.
Yeah. You guys have drilled, not counting what we haven't seen in season 9, because I know you can't talk about season 9 too much. Yeah. But is it like 400 that you guys have done in the Money Pit area already?
300 plus is his response.
300 plus, he said.
Whoa.
Wow. 300 plus.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, we were joking last night because Steve and Laird and Scott Barlow were on with Dustin and Deidre on Could It Be Oak Island podcast last night doing a pregame show, which was fantastic, by the way. Great show, you guys. And so they were, it was pretty funny because they were joking around talking about stuff like that. But that's so important for them to nail down exactly where, each one are. So they have, without that GPS and getting an exact marking of these things, you'd be shooting blind. You know, you have no idea where you're going. So that's why that is so vitally important. And getting that. And then as they put the pipe in the ground, they're also, and again, I don't know how this exactly works, but as the pipe is going down, so they can see that walk that Tom Burns mentioned about a 2-foot walk, that they can tell where it's going by, what is it, a gyro or something they've actually put into the pipe, I think, something like that, that it can actually follow it and see where it's, you know, as it moves over. They got these little circles in the maps. And you're adding to Deidre's map. Deidre's done a fantastic job with that map, with your map, Steve. Yeah, we have a gyro, he says. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah, because you got to find that deviation, because if it moves over 10 feet or a couple of feet to the left or in a particular, you know, direction, north or whatever, then you know where your next hole's got to be compared to that. So, yeah, so that's really cool. You have to make sure that that's found. So as we go along here, they did find wood. Now this was in the second one, the CD6, and it was again about 90 feet. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, last season they kept hitting wood around 88, 87, 88 feet.
Yeah,
correct.
Right
That is correct.
Okay.
Also, Jeff,
Go ahead.
where's the bucket of water?
Oh yeah, the bucket of water to make sure if it floats or not, right?
If it floats or not.
Now, was that bucket of water? If it sank, it was old, and if it didn't sink, it was newer.
Yes.
What it was? Okay. Yeah, we don't see them using the bucket of water anymore.
The bucket test.
The bucket test. You gotta have the
You gotta use the bucket test.
Yep. Cat's over here meowing at me. I don't know if you can hear it. She's demanding being pet, so I gotta take care of that. So, but again, I was assuming when they said 90 feet that they were talking about referring to maybe that same anomaly they were following, or a tunnel they were following last season. They were hitting
five
around
or six of them,
87,
if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yeah, Steven said the drill deviation changes everything. I can only imagine. And if you didn't know by gyro, you know, then you'd be shooting blind. You have to have that. All right. Have a great. Oh, thanks, Stephen, for stopping by. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. He's got it around, he said. So there. That's awesome to have him show up like that. Really cool. All right. So yeah, they found wood. And again, like I said, I was wondering if that wood had anything to do with the wood they found you know, last year as they were following that anomaly about 87, 88 feet. There's another shot of the wood, and they were going to get that wood tested. The C14 testing on it, so they can find out. Hopefully we'll see the age of it. Now, some of the wood, it was like, Jack, what was it? 1706, something like that?
Yeah, 1706 was what they pulled out.
So, yeah, good stuff there. Got to find it. And people, like I said, people are like, wood, whatever, you know, they keep finding wood. Well, that wood is telling a story, and they can
But if
follow.
they can get that wood to go all the way through at every borehole to match up to the, you know, to that number, they know they're going the right direction.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yep. Exactly right. All right. So now we jump over to the swamp. To the good old smelly swamp. And
Marty's favorite.
Yep. The essence of swamp, the essence of Oak Island swamp. They should bottle it and sell it. I'm thinking it's going to be great. The new fragrance for men. I had a picture of that up there.
Essence of swamp.
Yeah, the essence of wood. It was a piece of wood from the swamp, and Rick is smelling it.
Rick drank it last year. So.
Yeah, he wore it all the time. He wore it all summer. You know, every summer he wears the essence of Elk Island swamp. Aftershave, you know. Yeah. Okay, I digress. Okay, so back to the swamp. So this year they wanted to take a look. Remember last year they headed off towards Nolan's Peninsula and across, and then up by the backside of Nolan's the property there where the shed and the garage and the house and all that stuff are. And they pretty much determined where that one went. This year they were wondering if it had anything about turning and heading towards the money pit, because there's a great possibility that indeed it has. And I remember Aaron, when we had Aaron Taylor on, and Dr. Aaron Taylor was talking about that as well, that's something that they really wanted to do. Now we know that Laird is in charge of doing that this year. Unfortunately, Aaron's not there this year. So that's what they were going to take a look at. And It's this right here. Now, so they were thinking about this
Hmm.
turning off over here last year. They did spot some of that, but this year it's actually right here. If you can see my mouse, I know it's really small. But this, they're looking about checking about right in here going across.
Hmm.
So I thought that was pretty interesting that they're going to check here. And I've got a picture of that right here. Now, this, as you can see down here in the left corner, is the 20-foot by 70-foot stone paved road that they found coming up in the southeast corner, and they're heading off over this way to see if it goes in that direction or what goes in this direction. So that's where they're heading off, or they're taking a look at now. There's an overhead shot with the drone. Here's your road, and then they're taking off and heading this way. Oh, we got another call.
Okay.
Let's see who. This one's California, it says. All right, let's find out who we got here. Hello, who do we got on the phone?
Hey, it's Eric. How you doing?
Hey, doing pretty well. How are you doing today?
Good, good.
What?
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a little bit back. We're onto the swamp now, but I was just wondering why around the money pit, why after paying all that money to put those big cans down, why did they pull them all out and bury it?
Good question. I have a speculation on that. Jack or John, did you want to take a shot at that one? My speculation on that one is that they put those down, but they didn't find anything significant in those cans or from those cans when they went down. Nothing was found that was significant, and they needed to use the can for something else later on. I think that they left C1 in, and actually I think there's two that I think C1 is for sure left in the ground.
Right.
I think I was always thinking H8 was the other one, but I don't know for a fact if it's still in the ground or not. But
Has 10X been pulled out?
no, 10X.
No, it's still there.
Yeah, 10X is still. I don't think they'll ever pull 10X out.
No,
It's collapsing. The metal is deteriorated so badly.
Yeah.
That's the old railroad cars, if I remember too. Aren't
Yes,
they?
correct.
Yeah, yep. But C1 is still there, but I think the others have been pulled out mainly because they can't leave every one of those cans down there. That's a lot of steel to leave in the ground.
Yep.
And if they didn't find anything significant, they pulled them back out, and then of course, moved over and used them again for a different hole. C1 was so significant. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was also going to say, just shifting gears a little bit, the lead bag seal that was found.
Yeah.
I did a Google search and I found that exact marking.
You did?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a clothier's seal. So someone who deals in cloth.
Oh, wow.
So
And
that was interesting.
That was found over by Samuel Ball's property, was it not?
Correct.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so you would think that Samuel Ball then had something to do with that. And if he had that big pier going out in the water, that might have been something that he was it had to be coming in if it had that seal on it, because that's that clothier seal. Now that would have been, that was from over in Europe someplace, right? Where it originated?
England, I
Yes,
saw,
I
but
think
I'm not
so.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So it would have been
So there's some sort of commerce going on there.
right, for sure. Oh, good find. That's great. Yeah, I didn't know they never showed us if they found out exactly who it came from, or or what it meant, tied it into anything particular. So you did that on a Google search?
Yeah, on Google.
Okay.
And the exact markings, and so it was somebody's. It didn't say exactly who, but it was a clothier's seal.
Okay. Wow, interesting. Are you in our Facebook group, Eric?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, if you were, if you could share that, you can, it is a private group. So you have to request, to be approved to join the group. We'd love to have you join. In the description of the show here on YouTube, it's there. There's a link there. You can do that, because I would love to see that. If you have that, it would be neat to see that.
Send that to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would love to
Excellent.
see that and join and share that with us in the group. We got 16, almost 17,000, almost 17,000 members now. I'm still blown away by that.
Wow.
But if you share that with the group, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that, Eric. That'd be awesome.
Will do.
All
Well,
right.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for calling in. I appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye now.
Wow.
That's awesome. A clothier seal. That's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see that. What he's found.
And that was possible Templar, wasn't it? Blair said.
Yeah, I don't know. It had a 4 at the top, and they were trying to speculate. It could very well be. What do you think, John? Do you remember them talking about that last year?
Yeah. It's commensurate of a seal like that, and there might be something to it. I'd love to see what he had found, because I think it might kind of fill in some missing information.
Yeah, he said it was. He said it was definitely somebody's. Let's see who said that. Oh, that was Janet. Hi, Janet. And Janet said that's what Laird had said. A cloth bag, or a cloth bag seal, right? Yes, but what was in it? I think is the clothier's. It's had something to do with clothes, or I don't know. We'll see what he found, and we'll see what he shares with us. That's really cool. All right. So I believe that's right about the cans. They can't leave them in the ground, all of them, because they're expensive, and leave them down in the ground like that. If it's something that they really didn't find it's all that important, they would pull them back out. C1 is staying because of the shiny gold thing, and because there's a cavity down there. Yeah, there's a cavity down there. They found a cavity. There's an open cavity at the bottom of C1. They've already shown it, so that one's got to stay. Got to stay, and they've sent divers down in the darn thing. All right. So as you see here from the Stone Road, they're moving off to this would be off to the east. They're heading east with the excavation there, and we find that Craig actually, Craig Tester actually found parts of a barrel stave that he pulled up, several pieces of it. There's one there, and it's curved. You can hardly see it in that picture there, but it is concave, as it says. So that immediately tells you what it was. To the eye, you can see it here curved a little bit, and that bottom right there, that's that bottom where the I don't know what the end pieces are called, the top and bottom of the barrel fit in right here. That's where that groove is, where they go in and go together right there. So that's what that's all about. And then you can see a whole bunch of pieces. There's another piece here, there's another piece here. So obviously maybe a cart or a barrel had fallen off one of the carts, and just depending upon if it was full of gold coins, whatever was in it,
We wish.
Yeah, we wish. Fell over, broke open, and everything spilled out, and it just busted the barrel because whatever was in it was so hard or heavy, and it just broke the barrel apart. And then they got to all these pieces. So, I mean, why else would it be there, right? I don't know. That's what I kind of speculated, that it must have broken apart. And barrel heads, I don't know. Is that what they're called? Barrel heads?
Some type of dovetail, where it would fit in around.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That was Cat Fulton that said that. Barrel heads.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're called, something like that. Staves are the pieces, the side pieces.
Yes.
Yeah. Catherine's asking, was C1 the cam where they found the human bones, or the can where they found the human bones? That would be another reason to leave that can in place. I don't know. I didn't think so. I don't remember now, to be honest. I don't know if that was H8 or if that was C1. Or there was another one. RF1. I think RF1 seems like RF1 rings a bell for some reason to me. RF1 that might have found some bones. Anyway, somebody knows that. If anybody knows which can they found the human bones from, let us know. Chime in and let us know. Somebody said I think it was H8. Oh yeah, now Linda said, Dave Petrella says it's H8. Okay. Yeah, it was. Yeah. No bones in C1. Thanks, Janet. All right. I knew that. Awesome. We got the smartest. I mean, everybody can't believe
that take care of us.
Dustin and Deidre doing their trivia. I mean, that'd be good trivia questions. There's another piece of the wood right there, and there's that one that's got like a piece of dowel sticking out of it. That was weird. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know what a piece of dowel would be sticking out of a piece of wood for. I was trying to think of what that could be, but I'm at a complete loss for that one. Tom Burns says finding a barrel, cask, or keg along the coast of Nova Scotia would not be surprising. That's true. That's true. With all the shipwrecks that have happened in that area over the course of hundreds of years, shipwrecks, kegs floating, ended up on Oak Island. Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility for sure.
And there was a question about C1 having the cavity of the body. I thought that was 10X that had the cavity of the body.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 10X definitely had the figure which looked like a body under it.
Yep.
The bottom. And that was actually filmed originally by Dan Blankenship when he
Right.
Back
had
in
a
the
camera
70s.
down
Yep.
there. Yeah, Dustin and Deidre, don't ask questions that I know the answers to. Amen to that. What was the color of Craig Tester's shirt when he showed up at the money pit? Lavender. That's all I got is lavender. He always wears a lavender shirt. Anyway, so you see them working right there and you see which direction they're heading. So they're trying to head towards the money pit there and working their way along. And there's
Gary
Gary.
said that barrel was older because
What?
there was no metal around the sides or anything.
Right. Well, and that's what he said. I can't imagine a barrel with no metal rings on it. I can't imagine that. How else would it be holding it together? I'm fascinated by the fact that it wouldn't have rings around it to hold the darn thing together.
I know, but I mean, he said that. I thought it was funny too, but he was very adamant about it.
I know he was. You're right. He certainly was. Yeah, he was very adamant. But yeah, he did mention it didn't have rings around it. And I thought, man, that just doesn't make any sense. I don't know how else it would be held together. Barrel head, either of the round or flat sections form the top and bottom of the barrel. Thank you. All right. So, all right. So let's see here. What do we got? There was Gary. Gary found that gear. Remember when he found this watch? I think it's a watch gear. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I think it's a watch gear.
Yeah, it's a watch gear. Absolutely. Maybe even from a pocket watch.
Yeah, because they had pretty big pocket watches. Can you imagine the guy and a pocket watch back in that day had to be in, like they said, it would be somebody that had money would have a pocket watch. You know, your average worker can't afford something like that.
Hey, what were they doing on Oak Island?
Yeah, what was this guy doing on Oak Island? It was wealthy enough to have a pocket watch, and we don't know the date of it. True, we it hasn't been dated, but that was pretty cool, I thought. So yeah, he found that piece. There it is there again. And you see the gold color underneath. So Gary's eyes were starting to glitter a little bit, I think, as they were looking at that. And there's a picture. Excuse me. There's a picture of one right there of an old pocket watch that you can see the gears inside here. That it could be one of those type of gears. Pretty certain that's what it was. And they also found some pottery in that in that area as well. And extend, you were talking about this earlier. What did they, Jack? The pottery?
It was blue and white. Now, I don't know if they had found it in the swamp or did they find it at the ball property? I was just thinking a minute ago.
The other blue and white pottery?
I thought this was the second one of blue and white.
Yeah, it is, because I do remember them finding some, but you're right. I don't remember if it was up on the north end of Nolan's Peninsula, or they found a lot of pottery over there. Rick found some pottery over there. He was pretty surprised with. Then they found that piece of that old earthen pottery that Aaron Taylor licked. Stuck on his tongue. I know. Swamp pottery. Let's take a piece of swamp pottery and stick my tongue on it. Yeah. Oh, he washed it off a little bit. Yeah, he used swamp water to wash it. I don't know. He probably used bottled water on it, but still. That's as bad as Rick taking a swig of the swamp water.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe I saw it when they were at the ball property last year finding everything.
Yeah. Yep. Earthenware and stoneware. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, what was the one that he licked? Do you remember, Linda? Was it earthenware or stoneware? I think it was earthenware.
I think it was earthenware.
Yeah, I think I remember that right. So yeah, so they found, and that's the thing they found pottery out at, and Laird had mentioned that. Laird Niven had said that they found a lot of pottery on the ball property. So they found pieces of it all over the place, and definitely over here in the swamp area too. Yes, earthenware is more porous. That's what he was checking to see how porous it was by seeing if it would stick to his tongue, which it did, and that's why he said it was the earthenware. So there's another picture of it, of the pottery they found. And there was a whole, like a little pile of it, like something again had dropped. Maybe that's what was in that cask, and it fell over and broke the pottery too. We don't know. But definitely found some of that in that same area. And then he found this piece of wood. Thought that was pretty cool, and they were pushing the dirt. There was holes in it. And he was pushing his finger there through there, and there's one right here. This one here that looks like it's broken out. So, and then there's another one that he's pushing his finger through right here. So that was kind of a neat find. We don't know exactly what that one was all about. And then they found this. interesting dowel rod with a squirt off end. And John, you and I were talking about this before the show. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking ship's belaying pin or ship's pin to tie off, the ropes for the mast. We saw one of those, or we were talking about one, I think, last week when we were doing the top 10 never shown items of Oak Island.
Right.
And it's not metal, but it is commiserate with the design of a belaying pin.
Right. You're right. It definitely is. The one they found that they showed on that top 10 finds we never saw in season 8 was
Correct.
a steel one, or an iron one. I guess it'd be iron, not steel, which would be used as well.
Yes.
But you're right. Once you said that, I thought, man, that's it does. It does remind me of a belaying pin. And then they
finding it in the swamp is something else too.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing saying if John is correct on this, and I think he is, it's another piece leading to the fact that there may have been a ship in the swamp. Now, again, yes, as Tom notes that, things like this would float and could float from a shipwreck off the coast, end up, we understand that it's not out of the realm of possibility. It certainly could happen. But is it? I don't know. But we have an example. Look at that squirt out. Go ahead.
There it is. It's a belaying pin right there. 100%.
Now, if you take this, and now what we did is that a table leg. That's what I thought. That was the first thing I thought, Janet, was that it was a leg or a pinion of a. You see, even on a fancy ship, the handrails going up to the forecastle or whatnot. It could be a piece of a pinion. I call them a pinion, whatever that's in between. For the railing. I thought maybe it was something like that when I first saw it, but I don't know now. I'm not so sure. Linda put up a picture. Oh yeah, this was somebody put this on our Facebook page today.
Right.
Let's see if I can. I'm going to see if I can. I don't know if I can show this picture. Let me see. Let me do this. Download. Let's see if I can get this thing. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So, there it goes. Ah, boy, that took a second for that to show up. It did. It was like not showing up here. Okay, I'm going to see if I can. Why is this running so slow?
I don't know. But Linda had made another point, Jeff, that, some of the barrels could have been strapped off with leather straps as well. Which, when the straps would disintegrate, it's a great point. She said she's seen those before. So, leather doesn't last long in the elements, and therefore, you wouldn't have the metal that's traditionally wrapped around a barrel.
Right.
Very good point.
It's a smart point.
Didn't they say 1700s that they started using the metal, if I remember correctly?
I don't remember exactly, but that would indicate that it was certainly older then, wouldn't it? If it was using leather instead of a steel band or iron bands.
It would.
I think he's going to work on it. Here's another thing that the spokes of a ox cart, maybe, I don't know, they are kind of squared off at one end, but they're squared off on both ends, so they would fit into not only to the outer hub of the wheel, but also into the hub area. So I don't know, possibility. This was somebody had put this up on the group page today, saying it could very well be that. It could be. It could very well be that. So we don't know. So all right, let's get back here. Let's see, where are we at? There we go. There it is. So so interesting nonetheless that this was found. But here's something and this was a picture that John found for us. We were doing the top 10 finds and not seen in season 8, drilling down, and we came across this. John found this, and there's your belaying pins right there. They're going into some sort of a railing, and they're used to tie off ropes from the mast. You see them all along on this ship right here. See, each one of those pins. Now, most of those have a rounded head, but again, it doesn't have to be fancy, especially if it's not on a real fancy boat or ship. It could very well be that a straight shaft or a straight dowel with a handle at the top that keeps it from going all the way through. And I wonder, when I was thinking about this, I was wondering to myself, does it fit in those holes in this piece of wood?
Which would make that a ship's railing.
Which would make that a piece of ship's railing.
Yeah. And that makes perfect sense, Jeff. It would
I wonder if they did, if they took it and said, hey, give me that thing and see if it fits in one of those holes. I mean, if it did, I mean,
No.
you put a round hole, you know, I mean, pegging a round hole. I would have
There's
tried
your
it.
answer. I mean,
Yeah, if it fit in, it looks like about the right size. I mean, look at
Yeah.
this hole right here that's busted out. It looks like about the right size. I'm thinking, look at that. So look at the size of that right
It
there.
looks like
And then look at the size of that. I
ship's
don't know.
railing, and that's the pin that would fit in the ship's railing.
That would be a piece of ship's railing. So yeah. So I don't
Interesting.
know. Yeah. And one of those thoughts. Who knows? All right. So, and then remember they found the T-square out there too last year. That was a really neat find, and I think they said that T-square went back to the 1400s.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said the T-square went back to the 1400s. It's not in the notes here, but I think it did. I think it went back to the 1400. That thing is really old. They did the C14 testing on it and found that it's very old, which is really cool. All right. So now, next we jump over to lot 13, and this is where Gary and Peter are over there looking around in the doing a little metal detecting, getting ready to head off. Peter's doing his digging for him. And here they are. They're finding these. They're going around now. This is I thought that maybe this had something to do with the CCH and the permitting. That was the Community Culture and Heritage department that wanted this. I thought, see how they remember when they found it was just a piece of aluminum. The first thing they found, and they put it in a bag and threw it back in the hole that they dug where the marker was. And I thought maybe this had something to do with that, but maybe not. Maybe I'm not really sure.
the thing to remember also is that he had to go put the flags in, and Laird had to go out and give the okay for him to even dig.
Yep.
Now,
Right. Yeah. Good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. Gary can go out and do all the metal detecting he wants. As soon as he gets hit, he has to put a flag there, wait to get permission.
And that makes sense because you want to see the actual item or artifact in context. You know,
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. If you pull it out of the context, you might miss a clue or something specific about it. So you need to see it in the context of which it was found.
Yep. Excellent point. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Very good. And so you're exactly right. So, and then the cameras will be there too and document it properly. Yeah, Laird is going to have be a very busy this season. Yep. Yes, he is. Because he's all over the place now. Remember last year he was just primarily working on the ball property, and Aaron Taylor was working with Miriam in the swamp. Now it's all Laird in this.
Well, we don't know about the other archaeologist yet.
Yeah, we don't know who she is yet.
Or what qualifications she has to be able to do something like
Right.
that.
Yep. So, and then they found this little piece. This was their second find. Interesting little piece. What do you guys think this was? What's your thoughts on it, Jack? What do you think that is?
Yeah, it's some kind of a bar, but it's so short. You really,
I don't know.
I
I'm
need
not
to look
completely...
at, for dimension, I guess. Is what I'm
Dave
saying.
Petrella said it's a piece of candy. Yeah, it looks like it's
Candy cane.
There's a piece of taffy.
fossilized piece of candy. It's twisted like that. Like it would have been now to get that twist in it. Obviously, it's not threaded because they're not even. When at first glance I thought, oh, it's threaded, but it's not. But it's twisted like when it was being made, they twisted it. For what purpose, though? I don't know. I guess
that was like Gary thought it was lead, but then he thought it was iron. So
yeah, he was pretty certain, and it did end up having iron in it. We'll find out about that as we move along here.
Jeff, it wouldn't matter if it was twisted if you're putting in the wood. I mean, that type of thread, that's kind of a quick way of threading. You see what I'm saying? If it doesn't have a nut on there, then there's something, it doesn't have to be precision thread, but that easily could have gone into some wood to hold whatever it is together. I'm just
and it would definitely grip better and keep it from coming out. You're right. Good point.
But it's only a part of it, I would think then.
Yeah,
too.
That's a part of it.
Yep. Very good point. You're right. That would hold better in a piece of wood being threaded like that.
Correct.
Somebody asked, was there a hole in one? And yeah, that's something that was pointed out. Mr. Barasa, I think he was, when he looked at it, we'll get to that. I think he did point out that there was actually a pinhole in one end of it. Yeah, if it was lead, Linda said if it was lead, it would be soft. You're right. Yep. Cat Fulton said, plus wood pins. Wood pins don't rust. Saltwater iron tragedy. Yep. The one iron pin that they found from the top 10 from last season, that one was pretty rusted. Yep. Lead would be soft for structural integrity. Yep. Just saying, many Templars were Portuguese, weren't they? What's your thought on that? That was Linda Simmons said, just saying, many Templars were Portuguese, weren't they?
There were quite a few and the Friday the 13th, not only did they go to Scotland, a lot of them went to Portugal because they already had, Templars there.
Right. John knows a lot about that.
Yeah, but you also had Tomar, and you had other places in Portugal that were Templar strongholds. So yes, the Templars did have strongholds in the Portugal area for sure.
Yep.
Order of Christ, if I remember, John, or something like that.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Then we jump over to lot 17, and there's again Gary and Peter working in lot 17, and they searching for more clues that would explain the stone pathway. Peter digs out his first item, turns out to be a modern nail, which was no big deal. They move to the next flag, and he pulls out a scrap of lead. Now, I don't think I had a picture of that. No, I didn't. And it was like a little blob of lead that they found. Then he went over to the third flag, and then he dug out this metal band. It's a piece of banding, and it had like a square hole. You see this hole where it's broken, or was it just ears? But I think it was a band that went all the way around, and it had a square hole in it. So I think I got another shot of it here. Yeah, here's another picture of it here. So some sort of a metal band. Houston, Texas. Dave said the metal was from a wagon wheel. That was a cool find. Yeah, that's what Gary was saying. It was like a band that went around the hub. I think it was the hub, was it not, Dave?
Yes.
You talked about it because it was smaller, so it would have been around the axle hub.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's correct.
Holding that wood together on the axle hub.
Yeah. What we're seeing here out of lots 13 and 17 is what worries me is that Laird's only one person. And they could get backed up looking at stuff just because of the fact he is only one person.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah, you're very true. Yep. Very good point. Yeah, Deidre's here with it. Hi, Deidre. How you doing?
Hi, Deidre.
Hey, Deidre.
Made it over. Yeah, we were talking about your show earlier. We had Matty Blake on with us, and we were talking about Laird and Steven and everything on your show last night. That was a great show, by the way. If you guys haven't checked out, you should check that out.
They do a good show.
Their pages. The Could It Be Oak Island podcast. They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook. Got a great group. They do trivia and all kinds of stuff. They give away prizes. So you want to get in on that for sure. But a great show last night with the trio, Scott Barlow, Laird Niven, and Stephen Guptill. It was a good show. So that was really, really neat to watch. And look at this. Our archaeology trailer. When did that's new, right?
That's new, absolutely.
Absolutely new.
I
don't even think we saw pictures of that going across the causeway.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we did see a picture of that going across the causeway. Yeah, it was wondering I figured it was just another trailer for like the crew to cook or the sound or camera crew or something like that out there.
To your left, you have the interpretation center or the interpretive center.
Right there?
Up there, nope. That's
this
that's what Doug Crowley is. Yes, that's open to the public normally.
It's a research center right here.
That's the research center. And where the new archaeological trailer is, which I assume is right there in front, that used to be where the old war room was. Because I have pictures with Charles Barkhouse in front of the old war room in 2018. Right. So, and the war room's been moved inside the gate. So on the other side of where Doug Crowell's trailer is the research center, there's a gate that sits there. And then on the other side, within that gate, is the actual new war room, which is much larger and that has air conditioning. Air conditioning was very important.
You wouldn't think they would need that up in Nova Scotia. It's hot up there.
Yeah, you put 40 people in a room, in a small room.
You have 6, 8, 10 people in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, good point. Yeah, for sure.
That was important to him and the room because the old war room was very it was close quarters, so they needed a little more space for the cameras, camera equipment, things of that sort.
I just want to know where the food tent is. That's all. Just show me to the food tent. That's what I'm gonna be having lunch at the food tent.
They're getting so many people anymore. They may do expand the war room possibly.
Well, Dan, was it not Dan that used to have a cantina there? Jeff?
Yeah, there used to be the Oak Island Cantina was there.
You sell burgers, dogs, and maybe a brew or two.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oak Island Brewery. Yeah,
Yeah.
micro brew on the island. That'd be cool.
Oh, it would sell.
Oak
It would
Island
sell.
Lager.
Absolutely, it would sell.
It would.
It would sell.
It would.
We put it just we use swamp water.
Side dish question: what would you call the Oak Island brew? I'm going to throw it out to our audience.
Yeah,
Put it
what
in
would
the
you
chat.
call the Oak Island Brewery?
Yeah, and the brew. What type of ale would come off the Oak Island Brewery? So if you have ideas, put it in chat. I'd love to read some of them.
Yeah, not using swamp water for the
Yeah.
All right, so we got Doctor. Yeah, put your thoughts. What would you call it? Let's see. Important sensitive items. I was just reading a busy commercial enterprise would be a place to hide the importing of sensitive items, and activity could hide excavations and depositing in the back. Let's see, farm hide days. Yeah,
that's a good point though, Jeff. Because think about it, in plain sight. You always
Yes.
want to hide it in plain sight.
Yeah,
the
very
Templars
true.
did it. The Rosicrucians did it. Many of the secret societies will hide things in plain sight. So if you have an operation in the front, you could be doing, whatever it is in the back of the island, which no one would see, or in the money pit area, which no one would see. So that kind of makes sense to me.
Yep. Yeah, very true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, very good point. Let's see. I was just reading. Kat Fulton says, "Hey, now we got 4 to 5 days where we need AC up here."
Yeah, that's a true story.
4 to
I
5
wish
days.
we already had 4 or 5 days.
Here you got the Oak Island division of Maury Vineyards. Yep. All right, so you got Dr. Spooner, and they're in the archaeology trailer. Dr. Spooner, and they took over that the little gear sprocket watch gear that was found by Gary. They took it over here to the archaeology center, and they put it into the sonic cleaner, which basically it just vibrates. It's got a high speed vibration in there. It vibrates the water, and it just helps to clean. Non-abrasive way to clean off dirt and grime and gunk off of something. And there it is. You can see already the dirt coming off of the thing.
Yep.
I think there's a little picture here of showing how it works.
Yep.
That vibration just creates that is sonic in a way that it does. And they work very well. They're a nice way to clean it without getting in, scraping or brushing on it and tearing something up. So that's really, good thing there. And they got done with that, and then they put it into the XRF device here. Actually, that's an XRF gun or scanner that's upside down, scanning up into this box right here that they've. Because I've never. We actually rent these. We have a few of them in our rental fleet, but it's just the gun. We don't have the little box. This is interesting to see how that works. So they can put that in there, turn it on. Now they can get an analysis of the material makeup of an item right there on the spot. That was mentioned on Drilling Down, I think it was, with Matty, and talking about how they can get analysis on the stuff right away instead of having to wait so long.
That was one of Alex's points, I think, on the show, if I remember correctly.
Yep. So, yeah, that's really cool. Now they can do it right away, and that's exactly what they did with this. And they got this report on it right here, showing that, and we looked up some of these symbols because I wasn't too familiar with some of these. I think the CU was copper, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the ZN was zinc.
Zinc. Correct.
Okay. So, and that's the basic elements behind brass, right?
Correct.
So it was a brass, the little gear they found was a brass gear. Oak Island butterbeer is what Dave says. Fellowship of the Keg.
Oh, I like that.
That's awesome. I love that.
Barbara Duncan said that. Fellowship of the Keg. That's great.
That'd be a good name for a bar.
Yeah. It would be. It would be a Fellowship of the Keg. That's a good name of a bar for sure. Oh, we got to go up there and open that place now.
Oh,
Right down from Oak Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Roberta says, want to taste a good Nova Scotia ale? Try Alexander Keith's made in Halifax. Good beer. Cool. It could be. It would need to be a dark stout called the Mud Swamp. The Swamp Mud. Swamp Mud. That'd be a good drink.
Swamp Mud.
What are you having? Give me a Swamp Mud.
That's a pirate drink if there ever was.
Yeah,
If there ever
yeah.
was one.
What's that, Jack?
What?
Might have to be colored blue for the blue clay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, blue
Oh.
clay. Yeah. Swamp mud. Let me have a swig of that swamp mud. Yeah. Yummy, for sure. All right, so they determined that it was definitely brass. Then we got Kelly Barassa in there. He's also working away. And he was getting a look at the twisted iron and had some iron in it, had some lead in it. And so he was getting a look at the twisted piece of metal that Peter and Gary found and getting an analysis on that and his expert opinion on what it was. And he got a printout also. And there's a little bit of copper. But I think this base had lead, and I'm not sure which one of these is lead. I think Fe might be lead. I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I don't know my periodic table, so unfortunately, but it had 1 point, whatever his thumb is covering up down here is 89.779%. So that's the majority of what it is, whatever this was. But his thumb is covering it. And I should have got a better picture, I guess, if it had one. But they determined that it was a lot of lead. It had iron in it also.
Yeah, Fe is iron, Jeff.
Huh?
Fe is iron.
Okay, so that would be your iron here,
Yeah.
and then your copper,
Yep.
and then SN, SB, whatever those are, and then whatever this must be lead down here because he said it was primarily lead.
We're
Yeah,
looking for that. We're looking
Yeah.
for that
So
AU.
said
What we're
that.
looking for.
SN is 10.
Okay. Cat said PB is lead. So whatever his
PB is
thumb
lead.
is covering up is probably PB down there, I would imagine, because he said it was primarily that. I see. Janet said he said that because of COVID, the labs were backed up and slow, and this was a much faster way of getting an analysis right away. Which, it makes really good sense. They would do that. Yep. So anyway, we'll find out. I'm still curious what it was. Yeah, really curious. Yeah, Jenny is getting inky with it. Said Fe is iron. And he said it was mostly lead, so it had to be whatever this was down here. His thumb is covering
89.79%.
Yeah,
lead.
so that has to be your lead. And because of it being lead, they want to get that. What was that technology they used on it?
Ablation technology, was it not?
Yep. And that's what these little spots right here on the middle of the cross are when they did that here. So they're going to have to take this bad boy over and get it tested as well.
Now, what would be interesting if the lead is the same, comes from the same place as the cross.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Oh my God.
90% lead. Let's see. Rick asked Kelly to keep keep trace elements, keep track of the trace elements if any lead artifacts are brought in, so they can compare them to the lead cross.
Right.
Yep. Okay, we got to move along here.
Yep.
All right, so over to the war room. Now we bring in our friend Terry DeVoe. Terry, he's been on the show before, and he's also the guy that was out there looking at the Stone Road last year, and he came out and gave his opinion of what the Stone Road was, and he gave a date on it.
1500?
Yes, 1500s. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, Terry tells the group, Rick and the group, that the Stone Road was built. It was the same type of road that was built in Europe in the 1500s. He also tells them that Portuguese were in Nova Scotia 1522 to 1583. So Terry explains there could be some well-preserved evidence near the shore that could date the construction. And as you well know, Terry is also the gentleman that took them out to see the Overton Stone, which is actually on private property on a beach out there. And I'll have a close up here, but you see I think that's a tobacco leaf, was it not, John?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Is it tobacco leaf and the cross?
And then there was
and a crescent moon.
Crescent moon. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
And there's a close up. I think, here's a close up of now that cross is more, we've seen a lot of crosses, but the crosses can go to different countries. What did you think was this one?
Well, Portuguese. Is that correct, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had the dots around it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Portuguese. So that and he is convinced that Portuguese were there and there around 1522 to 1583. So if they're here, chances are, and this isn't that far. Do you know how far away? It's not far from Oak Island, is it? The Overton Stone? It's like within an hour's drive or something.
About an hour and a half, 2-hour drive, something like that. It's in the south end of Nova Scotia.
Yep.
So not that all that far.
Right. So now he came up with some really, really cool stuff. He got looking at some pictures, folks, and he was looking at the swamp, and we're talking again about the road. He came out and looked at the road last year, and it intrigued him so much. He needed to get a better look at things. So he came out to 145 miles. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
2 hours.
145 miles. Thank you, Ken.
Yep, that was Jan brought that up. Yeah. Terry said it was a Portuguese cross.
Mm-hmm.
So he was so intrigued by the stone road last year that he went and did a little bit more digging. Now he found this. He was looking at these pictures of Oak Island that were taking aerial shots of Oak Island, and he was taking a look at these rocks out here in the water just off of the road of the swamp. Just south of the swamp. He's got a couple things marked out here, but he's primarily looking at this row of stone right here and these other ones scattered around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was really cool that he put all this together. And again, he's one of these guys that has that mind looking for these kinds of things, like John is. But if you take a look here, he compared that. Now, here is the stone paving, the stone road that they found last year, of course. And look at that line, that straight line.
It's perfect.
It goes right to this line of stone. It's all in a row right here. I mean, it lines up perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. And we talked about this being some sort of a stone road. Now, we know that the water levels, I think they said down a foot every 100 years. I think it was a good estimate.
Mm-hmm.
So if the water level you go back to what, the 1400s, so you're looking at how many years? 700 years back. So you're looking at about 7 feet difference in the water level, roughly. This could very well have been exposed right here. So this road could have ran all the way out here.
Now that's interesting because where that road is, and they said there might be a pier there that was built at one time. Depending on how far that pier went out, you could almost date based on the water levels, Jeff, when that was built.
Right.
I mean, think about it. So if the pier went out 10 feet, 20 feet, whatever it was, and you could, you had to have a ship there, you can almost date approximately when that road was built based on the water levels and how far that pier went out.
Yep.
And didn't we have pictures from either Karen or somebody this summer? They were in that area looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they were. Well, we know last year that Tony Sampson dove out here. And I remember specifically myself talking about that. He was diving. Well, he was right in this area diving when I thought he was supposed to be over here. This is where they found that square anomaly, was right about where that it was out here just a little ways. They found some sort of a square anomaly, but he was actually dove and went over here and was looking somewhere in the middle of the road area of the swamp. And I thought, what the heck is he doing over there? And he was talking about rocks, a bunch of stone laid out on the ground right there.
And he thought it was a wharf.
Yeah. And lo and behold, there's Terry finding this all lined up right there. So that's really pretty cool.
Now remember, Colin Jameson said it wasn't all that deep there. It was very shallow around that coast because he had taken his boat around. So you're talking.
Yeah, when you get right in here, it was. Yeah. Out here was a little bit better.
No, it's much deeper. Yeah. So that's kind of curious because, at that point, if you're talking 6 feet right down, and that's a dock, and it maybe goes out further, well, you're talking 600-700 years at that point.
Right. Exactly. And of course, you're not going to bring in a big ship in this area. You're going to bring in, the ship's going to be anchored out a little ways, and you're going to bring the smaller boats. You're going to load them up.
Skiffs and the smaller boats.
Like that.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to bring them in. Here it is here that Terry had told him that the examination of the stone road was in the 16th century or earlier. Yep. So anyway, so you see that there. So I think that's just really cool. What great investigative work. I mean, here they were working on what the Stone Road was all about last year, and then Terry finds this information right here and how that leads right out into the water there. I think he's absolutely right. All right, so let's see here. Then I guess I had another picture. This was really cool here. This was another picture that Terry had, and I have to hand a little bit of this to Henry DeWitt. Henry is one of our members of our group, and he had shown some pictures. He was showing some pictures that, if I remember correctly, he was talking about this. He had mentioned this. If I remember correctly, he had mentioned this road right here, and you see this road. Now, if we go back a few pictures, well, I probably have to go back too far now. But this, when they were finding where they're digging in the swamp now in the southeast corner, and they're following it towards the money pit, I bet you they're going to find out that it's going to lead and come into this road right here, which is going to lead to the money pit. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? If the road was going from that area, from the stone road coming in from the swamp, and it does turn and head up here and have a road that's coming up here to the money pit area, they're either loading or unloading a lot of something. Why would they need a road?
And it had to be goods of significance. It wasn't just a barrel too. It had to be something that was significant.
Right. You're not going to go through all the effort.
Great amount and a great amount of time too.
Yes. Thank you, Jack. You're exactly right. You're not going to go through all that manpower and effort to even find all those rocks. Well, there's a lot of rock. Everybody that lives up there talks about how many stone there are, rocks all over the place, big ones. But to go through all that time and effort to build it just for hauling a couple barrels or whatever, kegs or what have you.
No,
it's
you're not. You're not investing that type of time, Jeff.
Yep.
And Jack, you're just not doing it unless it's something of significance. Unless it's you're moving a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, Tom Burns said, is the stone road Terry identified inland on the same path as the property line running down the center of the island, or at least close to it? I don't know. Who said? Cat said, oh, we love our rocks. Interesting. Yeah, so we're gonna see more about this, I'm sure, as the season goes along. Anyway, excuse me, got to move along here. It's getting late. I know a lot of people are up late watching the show, and appreciate you. All right, so we got to look at Ian Spooner's house. Look at that. Got a picture of his house. They were standing out there taking pictures of his house, and there he is in their inside working. And then we also have this gentleman right here. So I have Per Pufall, and he is a geoscientist. And he is the one where they were taking the water samples that, he was taking the water samples that Matt and Dr. Spooner had taken and the team that he had out there, and they were sending him over to this gentleman here for analysis. He had the capability of finding out if there was actually gold in the water. And so some of them here, let me read here just for a moment. Of the boreholes tested, ones containing gold were in the vicinity of C1 and seemed to mirror the ones with the silver in them, which was F4, E8, and two of the wells with most silver. There were two of the wells with the most silver. Craig reminds the group that F4 is north of the chapel shaft, and that's where they believe the money pit was.
Right.
So Marty suggests that gold and silver could be leaching from the chapel vault. So there's still a very good possibility the chapel vault is still there. They know they punched a hole in it, at least one, not them, but the chapel when he hit it, because remember they found the piece of parchment, and they found the bits of gold on the drill head, and they impacted the and went through the concrete that they found, pieces of the old concrete. So if it's leaching from the chapel vault, it's leaching into the water, and now you're picking it up in the water down there all around that area. So pretty cool, huh? I think so. So here it is. There you see C1 right here. Here's F4. This is the Dunfield dig. This inner circle would be the bottom of it because it coned down, of course. And then you got E8 right there. You got K7 right there. So very significant. And I think, yes, look at this little thing here. K7, would that be 0.055?
Yep.
F4 had 0.044. C1 had 0.067, had the highest concentration.
Right.
And then BC4, which I'm not sure exactly where that one was, had 0.046. Let's see if we can see BC4, K7. Oh, right up here.
They're all in that, what they call the C1 cluster, Jeff.
Right.
They're all in that area.
Right.
With significant gold or, above average gold in the water samples.
And Pear said, he did say that to get that much, or to get a measurable amount of gold in that water, it had to be a significant amount of gold to be able to put that much into the water that they found. Correct. Because it does not degrade or leach or whatever like silver, right?
No, not at all.
And he specifically mentioned F4 on that.
Yes. Yeah. And that's in the center of what Dunfield. Dunfield didn't go down deep enough. He didn't make it down far enough. The pit collapsed before he could get down very deep. So, so interesting. So they have evidence of gold in the water. Does that mean a huge treasure? Not yet, but definitely interesting nonetheless. So this is going to be an interesting piece of paper, I think, going forward.
Absolutely.
Yes, it will.
Yep. All right. So then they head out to, we're almost done, folks. Then they head out to the farm out at Northville Farm to see Carmen Legg. And that's our friend Carmen. We love when he shows up and comes on. He's going to be coming on the show in December. We're going to have him on for a little bit to chat it up with Carmen. So make sure you're here for that one. And then they took out that band that they found, and with the square hole in it that Gary found. One thing I noticed that they had a whole bunch of stuff. Look at all these bags. All these bags. When he was standing there, he must have had 5 or 6 bags, but they only showed us one thing. I hate when they do that. They only showed us one thing. That's all they talked about was that steel band, but all these other bags that they were looking at, they didn't show us. If there was parchment in the chapel vault, hope they were in low or no oxygen water. They need a lab ready and waiting to get them and preserve them as fast as they can. Yeah. Before they turn into goo. Yeah. That's very true, Catherine.
Yeah.
And if they were, doing any preserving in lead or no, not lead, mercury, then that's already been breached as well. All right. So I think, that's when Carmen was saying that it indicated it was probably a band off the hub of a wagon wheel and dated that band to be about 1650 to 1790. Okay. Lastly, we get over to the war room, and this is what the show where the premiere wrapped up over in the war room, and they were getting some analysis. There's Matt and Dr. Spooner and everybody. And this gentleman right here, was that Lessard? Was that who that was?
That was like Stephen Coupler.
No, I don't think it's Stephen. I think it's okay. Linda. Who was this guy? What was this guy? Isn't he one of the producers? I think he's the producer of Oak Island or something. What was his name? I can't remember now. I think that because I saw him in a couple of other pictures. Okay. He was there. So Pierre shows up, and he let's see. It says right here that in the meeting in the war room, Dr. Spooner, Lukeman, and Dr. Pufall were here to hear the final report of the water samples. He indicates that the gold was found in C1, F4, E8, and K7. Borehole F4 had the highest level of gold and silver. And Spooner tells the team that if gold is coming from the soil, it would be quite a bit to produce what they were seeing in F4. So the next step is to check till samples.
Wow.
Till samples.
And people are telling us it was Joe Lessard.
Joe Lessard. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Joe Lessard. Thank you, Janet. And he's a producer, executive producer. He's the executive producer of the Oak Island or the show. There's Matt And again, here's a look at those all those different bore holes where they found all the stuff right next to the head and shaft. So it looks like if that's the case, F4 had the highest concentration. That was right in the middle of the Dunfield dig. If this turns out to be where the money pit truly was, then Dunfield was right on the money, wasn't he?
Just didn't go far enough.
He just couldn't get.
Ran out of money.
He ran out of money. He could not
so
get
close.
deep enough. The hole started collapsing on him, and he couldn't get down there. So he very well had it nailed. He knew where it was, but because of what he did, that made they lost where the money pit was through the efforts of what he had done. They completely lost it. But it looks like if that turns out to be the case, he had it nailed. And F4, they punched F4 and they didn't come up with any gold or anything like that. So interesting. So yeah, there's the rest of the guys there in the war room. Here it is here. So yeah, just another look at it. F8 had 0.44. You see all the different copper and zinc, silver and gold. And gold was coming across all of these right here. River water has 0.005. Seawater has 0.010. K7 was down in those ranges. C1 was down in those ranges. But you see F4. Look at that.
Wow.
Bam.
Dunfield was right. He was right on the button.
Yep. Yeah, he was. Dave Petrella says Dunfield went down about 145 feet. He must not have been there. He must just have missed it. If that's where it is. We don't know that. We don't know that's where it was. But if it was, we missed it by.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that's just a picture of the old. I love these old pictures of the money pit. That was the money pit back in the day.
Wow.
That was them trying to put shafts down and trying to work it. They got the little train track right here for rolling out their carts and stuff. Yeah, I just love those old pictures. So there we have it.
There it is.
That's the season premiere of The Curse of Oak Island, season 9. I love it. What do you guys think?
Go ahead. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yep.
Because so much is going to depend on the permits when you get to the swamp, what they can do this year.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the money pit is where the money may be, but the swamp, there's got to be a back door. To me, there's got to be a back door from the swamp.
I think you're right. I think you are. I think you're exactly right, Jack.
The swamp has secrets that are not told yet, and I love the fact that they picked up exactly where they left off last year. I mean, right there, Stone Road, money pit, boom.
Yep. One of the cool things too, I got this one. I'm going to show this one last picture. This was kind of cool right here. These were 3 things that were found in the bottom, I think, of the chapel vault or the chapel shaft. I think it was chapel that found these. There was a pick, an axe, an old broken axe. And then whatever this was over here, a shovel or some kind of thing right here.
Like an oar or shovel.
We never knew about those.
No.
I don't remember ever hearing about those. Those were on the, I think those were on the Drilling Down episode.
Wow.
That Matty did. And they were talking about these. These were found in the, these were the things that were found down in the bottom, in the money pit area in one of the shafts.
Wow.
So what does that tell you? They found these deep underground. So there was people down there. I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They can talk all they want about the fact that there's nothing there. There's nothing in the money pit. Nothing there. What were these people doing that deep underground?
It's been proven time after time. There's been people down deep.
Yep.
Bones. There's artifacts. There was a toonie. Oh wait, he threw that in there.
Yeah, and it traveled. If you remember,
And it traveled.
Yeah.
It traveled like 10 feet underground.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And season 9, we're going to get there. We're going to find out what they found out this season. And I tell you what, this is going to be a good ride, folks.
Yeah.
We will be right here with you on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. We're going to be here with you every Wednesday. I think just about every Wednesday throughout the entire season. We're going to do our best to be here every Wednesday. And we will be having interviews that we do on Saturdays with our guest. We have, like I said, we got Carmen Legg coming up this Saturday. We have Jeffrey Irving is coming up, and he's going to be here talking with us about the Oak Island Library that he has brought together. I kind of wanted to talk about this at the beginning of the show, but I was so excited having Matty here that I just kind of forgot all about it. So Jeffrey Irving this Saturday at 2:00. And then we've got the guys from Lost Relics of the Knights Templar coming up in December. So we got a good lineup of people. We're going to wait a little before we get too many of the guys from Oak Island on with us, because we want to get a few shows under our belt so they can talk about some of this stuff. Get them on too soon, they can't talk about it. So we got to wait a little bit. So we'll try to keep you entertained with good stuff as we go along. If you have any suggestions of who we might have on, let us know. We'll do our best. We'd love to have Rick and Marty. Wouldn't that be the that'd be the pinnacle to have
fantastic.
Rick and Marty on. I don't know. That would be a really, really tough one. But anyway, we'll do our best. Hey, thanks folks for being with us here tonight. And as I said, when you're out there on the YouTube side, click on that subscribe button for us and the notification bell. And if you'd like to help support the show, we have a Patreon channel out at patreon.com. And it is, of course, jfree906. Thank you guys for being here with us tonight. Yeah. Peace out, Acorns. All right. Yeah. Peace out, Acorns. That's a Matty thing right there. Peace out, Acorns. You guys have a great rest of your week. And hopefully we'll see you here on Saturday. Bye-bye now.